Так, смотрите, какое место мы вас привезли. Фермы и поля. И вот тут такое, как будто бы тайный ход в какую-то избушку на курьих ножках через заросшие плющом деревья. Здесь находится пункт по спасению ежиков в нашем графстве, который обеспечивают волонтеры. Ну, пойдемте посмотрим, как живут ежики, которые попали в беду. They're so calm. They're not trying to escape.
No. Well, I might do in a minute. Might do. Oh, actually.
Don't tell you.
Yeah.
Millie has a front leg missing.
Right.
Normally, a lot of other rescues would put them down,
Right.
but we keep them because that tells us whether they've got parasite problems or not, and then we check their faeces as well. So I've got a microscope and I look at their poo under the microscope.
В краской помечают,
Right, so I'll
потому что многие ежики выглядят одинаково.
yeah, take
So,
a.
is it a dog food? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they like dog
Lovely,
food.
tasty dog food.
Yeah. So, how many cans do they eat
I think
daily?
they get through 24 cans a day, 26, 27 or something like that. Yeah, quite
A lot.
quite
Yeah, quite a lot.
lot. Yeah.
Ты говоришь такое?
Sometimes, иногда ежики sleeping, но они привыкают, и кто здесь долго живут, кто долго лечится, да, допустим, у кого-то большие проблемы, есть даже некоторые были лысые ежики, они долго лечатся, потому что у некоторых даже обратно не растут иголки, если был большой стресс, и тогда они остаются уже здесь навсегда. Они уже вообще привыкают сильно. И они становятся такие смешные, они сами вылазят из бокса. Посадишь его пока ему перекладываешь основную его бокс. И они начинают вылазить, такие наглые, такие смешные, как ручные уже совсем становятся. Приехали.
Right, so that's going to be, hold on, that's going to be 0.09. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was quick.
Yeah, I'm not injecting this. It doesn't get injected. Some of it does, but this doesn't.
Ah, it's just above, yeah. Okay.
Another Christmas begin Wendy's, no colour, 3, 2, 3.
Маленький, да, такой приятный. И иголочки у него очень мягкие, пока они маленькие, да? Поэтому нужно быть очень нежной.
I hate doing it to Lily's. Well done, there's a good baby. It's a little boy.
Little boy?
Yeah, little boy.
Поправляйся, малыш.
Let's give him a Russian name.
Russian name? Maybe.
One that I can pronounce.
What about Misha?
Misha. there we
Misha.
are.
Yeah, it's like Michael.
Michael,
Misha.
yeah, Misha. I like
Misha.
that. Well done, Misha.
Thank
yes.
you.
There we are. This baby
This
Misha.
is Misha.
No, Misha, поправляйся. Да? Выздоравливай. Okay, just a couple of questions. First things first, I wanted to ask about the rescue, like how it works, like who takes care of the hedgehogs, how they get into the rescue, like how are you funded, where do you get money for, because it is expensive.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is very expensive.
it is very expensive.
First of all, funding-wise, we don't have any funding other than the kind donations that people give us when they bring us a hedgehog. So that becomes sometimes very difficult 'cause, when money gets low and we don't have many donations, then we have to be careful about how many hedgehogs we take and how much food we have, because we have a hedgehog on average for about 40 days, so we have to plan ahead. So it's really difficult to be able to plan ahead enough sometimes. So we're not funded by any other people. Sometimes we get very kind donations from things like the token systems, and sometimes we have corporate people that occasionally give us some money that they've raised. So we do get we're able to keep going through that. So, but it is very costly. It costs us a lot of money per year, and in fact this year we had to have our accounts verified by somebody because we actually took in more than we spent more than £25,000. So when you get to that point, you have to have those verified by an accountant. So that just gives you an idea of how expensive it is.
Very expensive.
Yeah, very expensive. So nobody here is paid. We're all volunteers, everybody, including me. I'm the chair of trustees, so I do the majority of the caring, and I have to fit that in between my own work. And that really is a full-time job in itself. We're actually getting to the point where we're going to have to make a decision. Do we go forward and expand, or do we stay as we are? And if we expand, we will need paid workers, because
definitely.
we will not be able to cope. But our overall vision is to have a hospital for hedgehogs that's open 365 days of the year, 24 hours. That's what we would like to achieve in the future. But whether or not there'll be funding for that is something very different. And to have funding for a worker, somebody who works here full-time or even part-time, you'd have to have enough funding for at least 5 years' work for them, because it would be unfair to take them on in a very small space of time and say, sorry, the funding's finished, you can't have a job anymore. So we have to think very, very sensibly about that sort of thing. We have a fantastic team of volunteers. We are trying to achieve 4 to 6 volunteers per day at the moment because we have so many hedgehogs, but we average about 2 to 3 volunteers per day, 3 if we're lucky. It's a lot of work for 2 people, and there has to be somebody here to supervise all of that. All of our volunteers learn everything in the same way. So we have a complete system for teaching people, and we have a manual from which they work from now. That's something that came in new last year, so that we have consistency with the care of the hedgehogs. It's really important because some of them are very sick. For us, we're really passionate about the individual hedgehog. So we want to give them quality care and make sure that they are well looked after. So we have here, which other rescues don't always have, some disabled hedgehogs, and we have some elderly hedgehogs, and we have some hedgehogs that have been with us a little while, because we're able to offer them extra care. So that's quite nice, and we're able to offer them really good quality of life. So that's part of what we do, really. The volunteer system now, what we're trying to do with that is we're trying to train our volunteers that have been here longer to do some hog nursing. So eventually, when we are bigger, we hope to have a hog nurse on to care for the hedgehogs medically, and who's fully trained. At the moment.
This is should be qualification.
We would like it to be. At the moment, it's our qualification. Later on, we would hope that the qualification may be scrutinised and maybe a better qualification. But at the moment it's all internal. So anybody that's worked with us for 6 months and has volunteered with us for 6 months, we offer that training free. And we've just done Hog Nurse Level 1, and that's a day's course, and then lots and lots of practical work that has to be signed off by the person who's supervising, which is me, to say that that person is competent in doing that on their own. And when they've got that, they get their certificate to say that they are fully qualified. So we've got 6 trainee hog nurses at the moment, and everybody else is a cleaning volunteer. And then we have some volunteers that shred newspaper for us, collect newspaper for us, volunteers that help with events. There aren't enough of them, there never are. But and I'm doing too much still, and I need to offload some of that to other people. But we are a growing team of very lovely volunteers, so we're very lucky.
And I wanted to ask a little bit about hedgehog themselves. Like, how do they get here, and with which problems, and why do they get here?
Okay, so we are generally phoned up by members of the public who we ask to bring the hedgehog in to us if we think it's unwell. And we give them some advice about what to do with the hedgehog so it's safe while it's travelling, and to care for it while it's coming to us. Often we'll tell them to put it on a warm hot water bottle to keep, because when they come into us they're very sick, and they're very dehydrated, and sometimes they need to be warmed up before we can do anything with them. So we always ask them to put them on a warm hot water bottle. Often we'll ask them to put in a high-sided box because they climb very easily, and we'll ask them to put a towel over the box to stop any flies getting in, because when they're sick the flies are attracted to them. We get lots and lots of hedgehog calls. In the summer I have between 10 to 15 calls per day. You can see how many hedgehogs I've got. We can't take that many.
And why is it so? Is it because of the heat, or?
At the moment it's because of the heat, the lack of water and the lack of food, but generally it's because of what we humans are doing to the environment. It's a whole list of things that have come together to make it very, very hard for all of our wildlife to exist, and the hedgehog particularly is being impacted by it. So things like our very tidy gardens, there's no insects in them, and hedgehogs love insects. We don't have access in our fences, so the hedgehogs can't go from one garden to another to forage and eat food. And there's not enough water because none of us have got ponds nowadays. All sorts of things like that, and there's no bedding material for them because they're very specific about their needs for bedding. And then we have tiny gardens, so there's nothing in the gardens when they get in them.
Yeah, on the patio, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are lots of houses, so they can't go in the places that they used to go in, and they are loyal to their home range. So once mum has shown all the babies around the home range, they will stay there for the rest of their lives, and the babies will use the same place. So if you put a big hole there, it's a big surprise for a hedgehog. Or if you move the entrance through somebody's gate or fence, the hedgehog can't get there and it doesn't know what to do, and it has to adapt itself.
Disorientated, yeah.
Yes, it's disorientated. And then when it's disorientated, it can then be vulnerable to lots of things like stress. And we get lots of hedgehogs in that have got heavy parasite burdens internally. And we have to medicate those before they're well enough to go back out into the wild again. If a hedgehog is well, it can cope with its own parasite burden. It can keep it down to a level where it's well and it can continue in the wild. If a hedgehog is stressed, then what happens is the parasite burden goes skyrocket high and it can't actually manage anymore, and then it needs help from us.
Yeah, just like people.
Just like people. So the immune system's poor. And one of the reasons why the immune system's poor is because we've thrown pesticides at them, we've thrown slug pellets at them, we have garden lawns that we put pesticides and lawn feed on,
weed killer,
them, all sorts of things like that, and it's killed all the insects. Why is it we don't see insects? Because we've killed them, and insects are really important. Sorry. Stop! Upstaging.
I also wanted to ask, why hedgehogs? Because there are lots of, are they more endangered than other wild animals? Yeah.
They are seriously endangered. They have dropped from 32 million in the 1970s down to less than 500,000 today. And just on the roads alone, they estimate that between 125,000 and 250,000 hedgehogs are killed per year. So if we've only got 500,000 left, that's hard, that's going to go downhill very quickly. So it's really, really important that hedgehogs are looked after. Yes, our other wildlife is in danger. We have other problems with things like bats and other areas of wildlife. Birds, we're going to have issues with bird flu and all sorts of things like that. But hedgehogs, why ask for hedgehogs? Because they're amenable creatures. They have been here since prehistoric times, so they are dinosaurs. So you have dinosaurs in your garden. They don't do anybody any harm. They are little predators in their own right because they can go around and predate on food, which is fine because I think that's absolutely natural and that's a perfect thing to do. But they learn quickly, they retain sounds, so they learn your voices in your gardens, they know their families, they learn smells, and they retain those for their entire lives. And they also learn the landscape that's around them as well, so they're able to identify where they are. So I think they're like mini elephants. are very intelligent, got lots going for them, and very highly adaptable. And if they can't adapt, they're telling us that there's something dreadfully wrong with our environment and that we have to do something really fast.
Yeah. Okay, so can I then get any recommendations for just people? What can they do? Yeah, in this situation,
Very simple things. Okay, so one simple thing is to make access in your garden so a hedgehog can get in and out of it. So a very small hole, only 16 centimetres by 16 centimetres, in your garden fence, underneath your garden gate, anywhere you can, so it can get into your garden. That's the first thing. Second thing, sorry. You're going to make him bark, Julia. I'll wait till he stops. Give him food instead. Go with Julia. Go with Julia.
Иди, печень куда тут? Where's your biscuit?
Go with Julia. I'll wait for you to call him.
Позови его, Юль. А то он палку ждет тебя, палку кидать.
We're done. Paddington comes with the rescue. He's only 3, bless him. Yeah, so food, putting food out will help.
What kind of?
Any dog or cat food or kitten biscuits. Putting out a low dish of water, particularly at this time of year. And then thinking about doing nice things in your garden. So thinking about doing things for wildlife in your garden. So having a small patch of long grass, having a log pile, having just a wild area in your garden, a big pile of leaves. All those things help your wildlife, particularly hedgehogs. So it's no good if a hedgehog can get into your garden and you have a nice patio. That's not helpful.
To have a barbecue.
Yeah. There's nowhere for them. So you need to have those things as well.
Yeah.
So that they've got food. So you're encouraging insects into your garden. And you won't just be encouraging hedgehogs. If you've got insects in your garden, you'll also be helping the environment. Because one of the problems of our environment is going to be with the lack of insects, and we can't produce food. Insects are very, very important for producing food. So it's very, very important.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will put all the recommendations, and I will definitely put the link to you. And
Do you want some leaflets as well to take with you?
Okay, yeah.
So you can read through some leaflets.
And Paula, I wanted to ask one more question. And what's your, because this is your volunteering for now, and what's your job, like what do you do?
I used to be a teacher,
right,
but
at
now,
school?
Yes, in a school teacher, yes.
What kind of
I used to teach secondary school children.
Right.
Now I run a theatre company.
Theatre company?
Yes.
Wow.
So I run a theatre company that does theatre anywhere other than a theatre.
All right. Is it like outside?
Outside and inside. So we've just got a grant to do a project in Stowmarket, and we're going to be doing theatre in the streets. We'll be doing theatre in different buildings in Stowmarket that have got historic interest. So it's really interesting to do that, and I'm really, really proud to run a theatre company, but not very easy to do. It's hard work.
Yeah, it's hard work, and hard work to put everything together, in your life.
Yes, very much so.
Wow, thank you so much for the
no
interview. Yeah. Короче, дорогие люди, если вы живете в Англии, вы, наверное, знаете, да, как собирают деньги на благотворительность. Часто ходят волонтеры вот с такими коробочками, да, куда можно бросить вот сюда вот монетки. Вот. Если вы увидите такие коробочки с ежиками, и у вас вдруг есть монетка, не пожалейте для ежиков монетку. Для вас это может быть ничего, а ежикам это очень понадобится. Помните, что ежики тоже очень нужны людям. Без ежиков можно загнуться, потому что они важное звено в экологической системе нашей планеты. Вот. Ну или, конечно, просто можно пожертвовать с помощью банковской карты, как обычно жертвуют деньги. He wants to play,
Time to play.
Yeah. Enough sitting! Yeah, time to play!
I've been so quiet all day.
Oh my gosh.